Legacy of Destruction is around the corner and you can't wait to play Yubel, but before that set drops you still want to learn a little bit about Yubel to prepare better. Then you are exactly like me and that's the reason why I will help you with that. Welcome to the updated Yubel combo and deck post Legacy of Destruction. Disclaimer, since after Legacy of Destruction's release, Phantom of Yubel will probably still let us wait for a few more months for its release, the next few Yubel Academy videos are only dedicated to the pure Legacy of Destruction version, since I do think it's more practical because that is what we are working with then. The last few days I heavily tested this deck without Phantom of Yubel in preparation of course to Legacy of Destruction, and that's the reason why I found a way more optimized deck build and also a funny combo, including a card I before that video oftentimes criticized in the comments because I haven't really tested it that much. Turns out it's really great, especially considering the fact that this card helps you out so much to play through Nibiru and Drawl. It's insane. Let's stop the yapping. Better than to talk about it is to show it to you, and I will do that now. We start by activating Nightmare Throne, adding us one Samsara the Lotus. Then we normal Samsara the Lotus and activate this effect to special one Spirit. Spirit of Yubel will then luckily set us one Nightmare Pain, because if Spirit would have forced us to add that to the hand, Drawl and Lockbird would be really devastating for the deck. Luckily, the Konami gods thought about us, thank you. We activate Nightmare Pain to pop the Spirit and add one Infernal to the hand. Spirit Chainlink 1 and Nightmare Throne Chainlink 2 to special summon the second form. And Spirit will then float into the OG Yubel. We activate Infernal's effect to special summon itself, but now we don't pop anything. Since we don't have Phantom of Yubel yet, it doesn't actually give us anything if we have more forms in rotation other than that we play way more into stuff. So just special summon him and then we will link off the second form and Infernal Grave into Yama. Yama will then add us the best doggy Shavara. Then we activate Infernal Grave's graveyard effect to reborn the Spirit of Yubel. And here comes the reason into play why we play two Yubel forms. In order to achieve that endboard, and in some situations it can also help, but the priority is to achieve the endboard. We have to play two Yubels, otherwise one card wouldn't do that. We activate Shavara to pop the Spirit, and Spirit will then get us the second OG form on play. If we only would play one Yubel form, the endboard would be significantly weaker by only using one card. If you open multiple cards, you can of course somehow do that if you have a way to get the Spirit additionally on the field. Before we do anything further, don't forget that as long as Shavara is on the field, I always tell you that, we are fiend locked, so we have to take care of that first. We will link away Yama and Shavara into Rage. And now the first thing that changes in comparison to my previous Legacy combo video happens. We activate Shavara to set us one Unchained Chamber. The reason why I haven't included that card in my previous Legacy combo video is that I really hate to draw that. Sadly, I do think it's a necessity to play it since it helps you so much to play around everything. Your opponent has Kaiju, Lava Golem, that's fine. Your opponent Super Police you, that's also fine. Chamber is really great. Sadly, it's completely dogshit to draw it, so we have to live with that. It just gives us so much in return, it's worth it. Now, since we aren't fiend locked anymore, we actually go into one of my new favorite additions in Legacy of Destruction, the Omni-negate Wildwrath. This card is really insane. It's an Omni-negate, and if you negate something and your opponent still has something on the field, you can, in the same effect, basically before resolution, detach one additional card from it to destroy one card on the field. It's really insane. On top of that, it has quite good board breaking capabilities. If it attacks and it has material, you don't have to detach anything for that, it just has on the attack declaration to have material. At the start of the damage step, you can pop one card non-targeting on the field. It's a really insane card, it does so much for the deck. Really good. Now you may say, okay, that's quite good, especially considering only one card did that, but where exactly is our Yubel in the Yubel combo? Well, it's right in the graveyard. Since we haven't used Yama yet, our plan is to more or less hide the Yubel in the graveyard. And we have multiple ways to access Yama. Either if your opponent activates anything, you can just negate that, and then with the additional pop effect, you can just pop one card you control. I don't know any situation where you would want to do that, but you could. Or you just wait, if your opponent thinks he's smart and he normal summons a Wars Raider or something and runs over your Rage, you can just let that happen if they want to run over Rage, because we have the trap that can reborn Rage anyways, we have Rage's effect that can actually chain block Yama, Rage can add us Shavara back to the hand, and Yama can then special summon Spirit, giving us immediate access to the complete Yubel engine. Just because we have layered the Yubel engine a little bit more into the graveyard doesn't mean it's bad, since if you think about it, what does Yubel bring you if it's on the field? Nothing. The only thing that Yubel says to your opponent is if it's on the field, out me. It has literally a target on its head where it reads out me. It's not really good, so it's completely fine to hide it in the graveyard in combination with Yama. Like I said, don't forget that only one card did that. It changes drastically if you open anything else, and I will show you one example of that. What exactly happens if we open the 1-card combo with access to Nightmare Pain, so a 2-card combo basically? Well, wonderful things happen, my friend. Wonderful things. You just perform the same combo as before up until the point where Spirit of Yubel will set you one Yubel spell or trap. You will now set, instead of Nightmare Pain, the star of the show, Major Chronicle. You set Major Chronicle and then activate it, but what exactly is that card and what is the reason why I haven't included it in any of my previous Yubel videos? Well, to be honest with you, the reason is I heavily underestimated that card. Very much so. The reason being is that I originally thought that this card is a win more card. On its own it doesn't do anything and it requires you to be able to play for it to be good. That is still true, but what I haven't thought about much though is that this card built into a combo is really insane. What exactly does it do? If you remove one counter, you can special summon one Yubel from your graveyard. This is actually I would say the best effect this card has, because it helps you so much to play around or through Nibiru, Drawl and all sorts of hand traps, but that's a topic for the next few days in my Yubel Academy videos. Then you can remove 2 counters to add one of your banished cards to your hand. I do think in the long run, if you have a grindy game, that can come up, but all in all, I don't think I have ever resolved that. In theory, it's okay. You can remove 3 counters to banish 1 card from a deck, so obviously they want you to use both effects, but that is way too slow, since you can only use one of those effects per turn. By removing 4 counters, you can destroy 1 card on the field non-targeting, so it's good removal, but keep in mind that this card is continuous. So one thing that does is giving your opponent so much pressure. Just imagine it's your opponent's turn. He plays and he has problems dealing with your bot anyways. Then additionally he sees, oh damn, this card has 4 counters on it, which gives you immediately, upon entering your main phase, a non-target pop. This card stresses your opponent way more out than Eternal Favorite. I can promise you that. Now comes the effect this card is probably the most famous for. You can remove 5 counters to add 1 Super Poly from your deck to your hand. There's no way we can achieve that, right? We activate Nightmare Pain and pop Spirit to add 1 Infernal Grave. The same as before. Chainlink 1 Spirit, Chainlink 2 Throne. Throne will special 1 Incarnate. And Yubel will float into the OG Yubel. And as you can see, this card already has 2 counters. Then we will special summon Infernal Grave, and we pop nothing, and this card has 3 counters, so you see it builds up pretty nasty and fast. Then we link away the Infernal Grave and the Terror Incarnate into Yama. Yama will add 1 Shavara, and now we will activate Infernal's effect to reborn 1 Spirit. Now Shavara's effect to pop the Spirit, special summoning itself and triggering Spirit again to float into the Yubel. Now before I go to the Major Chronicle, we have to link away the Shavara, activate Shavara's effect to set 1 Chamber. As you can see, this card has exactly 5 counters. Before we do the funny thing, we have to overlay into the rank 10 first. And now we have the full end board, including 1 Super Poly we add to our hand. I hope you do realize how fucking insane that is. By just opening your 1-card combo and either Nightmare Pain or Major Chronicle, you get that basically guaranteed every time, which is completely insane. And in comparison to Eternal Favorite, which I cut for that, this card is also quite okay, going second if you can play and you can get to the destroy 1 card on the field effect. This card is really good. I heavily underestimated it, and I do really think moving forward it's also better than Eternal Favorite. To summarize things, we have Rage, which on his own is basically 3 interruptions. You can link away one of your opponent's monsters into SP. SP has an on-summon banish effect, and then if your opponent does anything, you can chain SP again. We have the Omni-negate, which upon negation can additionally destroy a card on the field. And we have 1 super polymerization set, which we searched in our combo. I still can't comprehend that fact. A searchable Super Poly, one of the most broken support cards the deck has ever seen, consistency and enough space to run good non-engine. We Yubel players have a bright future ahead of us.